Right, so if you weren't here on Friday, you'll make a new document and you'll name it Drawing Tools Introduction, your name. So Hannah, do you have Illustrator on your computer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I already pulled up a new
Okay, cool. So you're gonna want to have 4 artboards at least. On Friday we went over how to create more.
How do we do that again?
So in this screen, this dialog box that's open right now, you'll say Nicole drawing introduction or whatever, and then number of artboards is, I have it at 4. You might have it preset at something else, but you want at least 4. Spacing doesn't matter. Size is letter, so that will be 8.5 by 11. Bleed doesn't matter right now, and then in advanced, if it's sideways, if the arrow is sideways, pointing like a play, you'll want to turn it downwards by pressing on it and change the color mode to CMYK. We use CMYK because that is the color profile you want to use when you're printing, when you're using a printer. You would use RGB, which is the other option. You'd use RGB if you were designing for the web. And then you'll press OK. And that should create your desk with 4 pieces of paper on it. I'm going to open my recent file. I'm going to open my old drawing tools. So this is from Friday. Yours will definitely look different than mine because we were just playing around with stuff. And let's see, so we're going to start with shapes. You guys did some shapes in your introduction to Illustrator with the tutorials. We're going to play around with them a little bit more. So my screen might look a little bit different than yours. I cleared off window. I went into window and cleared away all of the different windows because I just wanted to start fresh and then be able to open them as we went. If you have windows open, that's totally fine. If you don't want them open, you can go to this window screen, and anything that has a check mark, if you click on it, then that will disappear. That window will disappear. So right now, all we have are our basic drawing tools over here. As a brief review, selection tool is just going to allow you to click on something and move it around. You can also resize using your selection tool. The direct selection tool is this little arrow right here, and that is going to allow you to change more about your path or your shape. The direct selection tool can also be used rather than clicking on this. Remember, there's a lot of shortcuts in here. You can also hold on to Command, and your mouse will become a direct selection tool. So I'm just going to go review the shortcuts we've gotten over already. So Command plus is going to zoom in. Hurrah! Command minus is going to zoom out. If you're zoomed in somewhere and you want to move around, you can press the space bar, and the space bar will make your mouse the white glove. So that allows you to move around the screen without selecting anything. So the space bar is our white glove. Command plus is zoom out. Is zoom in. Command minus is zoom out. And then I just gave you a new one, which is Command holding Command will make your mouse a direct select tool. All right, so here we go. I'm moving around my screen to get to a new artboard, and we are going to use the shape tool. So if you want to have, you can just click anytime there's a little arrow in the corner. That means that there's a drop-down menu that has more information in it. If you want the drop-down menu to be its own menu, you can come over to this little arrow on the side, and it will make it its own little menu. So now we have a little menu that's pulled out. So rectangle tool, you can make any type of rectangle you want. Ooh, long and skinny, short and fat. Right now, I have a rectangle that is pink on the outside and has nothing on the inside. If I wanted something on the inside, this is our fill area down here. So we have pink is our stroke around the edge, and if I want to do a fill, I can double click on the fill, and a dialog box will pop up. I want a pink outline and a blue inside. And there is my rectangle. Oh, I love you so much, rectangle. I love this rectangle so much that I want to make another one. If you ever want to duplicate anything, while you're holding onto it, click the Option key and drag away, and that will make you another one. So I want everyone to make a rectangle, any rectangle they like. Give it a fill, give it a stroke, and then make at least 4 of them.
I don't remember what I don't know what I did last time doing this.
You might have the... Oh, okay, so go to View, and you have go to Perspective Grid, and High Grid. Now it should work. So you had there you go. Yep. If you want to make a square, which is a type of rectangle, you will take your rectangle tool and hold Shift. Shift will make it a square. The same goes for a rounded rectangle tool. Everybody make at least one rounded rectangle. When you make a when you make a rounded rectangle, there are a few more anchor points on these than a regular rectangle. The anchor points are telling the computer how to form the lines and form the shapes. So these little sort of bullseyes in the corner of a rounded rectangle are going to change the amount of rounding of the edges of your rectangle. And so the closer you pull them to the center, the closer it's going to be to an actual circle. The further away you pull them to the edges, whoop, what did I do there? I don't know what I did. Let me make another one. So the closer I pull them to the edges, the more it's going to look like a square. And the closer I pull it to the center, the more it's going to look like a circle. When you're dragging them right after you make the rounded rectangle, it's going to drag all the sides. But if you want to only make one side more rounded than the other, making another, you can choose your direct select. Oh, maybe you can't. Never mind. Oh yeah, you can. You click outside of your rectangle and then choose your direct select tool and just choose that one corner. So now I have one corner that's a little more rounded than the other. So you can mess around with that a little bit. Our next shape that we can make is an ellipse. An ellipse basically is either an oval or a circle. If you want to make a circle, you hold the Shift key while you're pulling out your ellipse. Otherwise, it's going to be an oval. Oh my goodness, I love this oval so much, I want to make another one. So I'm going to click on it, and while I'm dragging, I'm going to hold Option, and there we go, I got another one. Yay! If you have specifications, you guys won't in this class, but if you were ever to be doing a job for someone and you knew certain specifications, like how wide the circle should be exactly, you can always just click once and the dialog box will come up with the width and height of your shape that you're making. So I don't think you would ever want that exact size, but say I want a circle that's 1 inch by 1 inch. I can type in 1 inch, 1 inch, and it will make me a circle that's 1 inch by 1 inch. Polygons. So poly means many, and gon means side, for those of you who have taken geometry. So for a polygon, you can choose how many sides you want for your polygon. First of all, you could just click, and it will tell you can choose how many sides you want. Or you can drag, and while dragging, you can click the up arrow, will give you more sides, or the down arrow will give you fewer sides. You can go all the way down to a triangle. You can go all the way up to, I don't know how many you can go up to, but lots. As you notice, the more sides you get, the closer it looks to what? Yeah. So the more sides we get, the closer it's going to look to a circle. So everyone make a couple polygons. When you create a new polygon, so I have this pentagon, 5-sided shape right here. If I want to scale it, make it bigger or smaller, I can use these handles in the corners and I can make it bigger or smaller. I'm making it shorter or fatter right now. If I want to maintain the proportions, I hold Shift, and Shift will keep it looking the same, but just bigger, the same proportions, just bigger. And then if you come outside of the handles, you'll notice we get this little curvy arrow with with an arrow on either side. That will allow you to rotate your shape. And if you hold Shift while you're rotating, it's going to rotate on specific angles, so 90 degrees, 180 degrees. So that doesn't matter so much when you're using a circle, but if you were to be using a square, if you're trying to rotate a square and you want to rotate it a specific amount, holding Shift is very helpful. Because if you're trying to rotate it yourself, the chance of you getting exactly to 90 degrees, it's pretty hard. So like, well, I'm trying to get so close, but I can't quite get it. So anyway, holding Shift is good for that. Star, you guys all used the star tool in your things I just made you do. But we'll go over it again. How many points do you, if you click, you can say, how many points do you want your star to have? I want my star to have 8 points. And then these radiuses will change the way the star looks. How long the arms come out from the center. So let's see, we'll do 0.4 and 0.8, 0.9 here. So there's one star. And now if I change this radius to 0.7 and 0.9, see the second radius got bigger, so the arms are way shorter on this second one. So that's just something you can play around with a little bit, star-wise. And somebody, I think maybe Jacob, was playing with the flare tool. Is it you?
Yeah.
So my professor that taught me about this program, he hates the flare tool because he thinks it's really hard to use it with any type of purpose. You guys are welcome to try it out. It does look sort of cool, but it's difficult to actually make it. It's difficult to use it with an artistic purpose because it's just so complicated and crazy. So you guys can play around with it a little bit if you want. When you open the dialog box, if you just click once, ooh, there's so many different things you can change. It's just crazy. So you can mess around with it a little bit, but
I don't think my flare works.
your flare's not working.
And every time I do it, my whole screen just goes away.
Okay, yeah. It takes a lot of it's using a lot of information, so it also will make it can freeze your computer.
Yeah.
1 second. Okay, I'm gonna stop this video.